I'm about to do, I'm gonna enjoy it. Very, very much.
Tickets on sale now.
Hi everyone, it's Charlie. We got brand new Avengers Endgame footage to break down. You thought that special look teaser was the end of it. They're going on Kimmel all of next week. They're taking over that TV show. So we're probably going to get even more footage next week. But right after they dropped that special look last night, ESPN dropped a brand new TV spot with a bunch of new footage. And it just shows Captain Marvel after the events of the Captain Marvel post-credit scene. You get a whole bunch of new dialogue, so we'll break it down. It also puts some of the other scenes that we've seen in the other trailers into context, so we have a better sense for the timeline, especially early in the movie. We're only a couple weeks away from it hitting theaters, so of course I'll keep doing the IMAX ticket giveaway every week until we get there. So all you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber and leave your favorite moment from the trailer on the video. Congratulations to everyone that was able to score tickets, too, when they dropped that special look. That was the whole reason for that. Tickets on sale now. The movie broke all kinds of ticket sales records, but the voiceover from Thanos in this footage is a little tongue-in-cheek the way that they use it. The work is done, like building up to this big final act of the Avengers Infinity Saga. Now we, the audience, can enjoy what they're about to do very, very much. Even though in the context of this, it's coming from some different point in the film with Thanos talking to the Avengers, either during their first attempted rematch or during the later one that we see at the Avengers base amidst all that rubble. But he says, the work is done. I won, talking about the events of Avengers Infinity War and the snap. What I'm about to do, I'm gonna enjoy it very, very much. There was a description of the movie a little while ago that implied that there would be a greater threat that would surface during Avengers Endgame. Everyone was thinking that might be another villain from the comics. It still seems like they're pitching Thanos as the main villain of this movie because the Avengers are trying to fix everything and Thanos is trying to stop them from fixing everything and undoing the snap. But if the movie's going to be 3 hours long, that is so much plot. So I would not be surprised if they did tease some sort of other villain. But for now, we'll just assume that Thanos is still the main villain of the movie based on the way that they're marketing it. But they are very misleading in the way that they market their films. So take all this footage with a grain of salt. But you start with the very ominous shots of Manhattan, the Statue of Liberty, very ominous Mets Stadium, where it looks like there's just nobody left. All these cars that are abandoned. Just a way to show you where the world's at post-snap, whether it's a couple weeks after the snap or a couple months. You see the dusted Marvel Studios 10-year anniversary logo. It'll be interesting to see what they change that logo to next year because it'll be 11 years. But then you see Captain Marvel in the Avengers base after she's answered her page, after the events of the Captain Marvel post-credit scene. Like she shows up at the Avengers base like a ninja looking for Nick Fury. Where's Fury? She's wearing the same outfit that she had on in that Thor scene from the previous trailer, so she's not wearing the gold-shouldered armor anymore. She's taken that off, and it seems like it's been a little while since the events of that post-credit scene. Cinemacon is happening right now. They showed off about 5 minutes of the movie during that, and it's different footage, but it's basically the same scene that they showed off at the private Disney investors meeting a couple weeks ago. I already did a video about that. The 5 minutes of footage is basically them here in this moment, then them arguing the Thor scene, and that it ends with this moment with them on the Guardian ship. But here in this scene, you see Captain Marvel, Captain America, and Rhodey in that same room from the Captain Marvel post-credit scene where they were using Iron Man's computers to try and find out who got snapped by Thanos and who's still alive. You can see the number counter going above 3 billion. That's, about half the people on the planet, which makes sense because Thanos was snapping half of all living things in the universe. So half of all animals, half of all people, half of all the aliens on the other planets. You notice the flaw in their system when you think about the other scene from the last trailer with Banner looking at those displays, because the computers seem like they're just searching for signs of people or sightings because the computer thinks that Ant-Man got snapped, but that's only because it can't detect him when he's in the quantum realm, which it seems like he still is when this scene of Banner staring at the displays is happening, so this is a little bit earlier in the film. In this scene, you notice that Eric Selvig got snapped. We watched Falcon turn to dust at the end of Infinity War. There's no mystery there. The displays start changing. You see the Wasp. We also watched her turn to dust during the Ant-Man and the Wasp post-credit scene. Scarlet Witch, we also watched turn to dust at the end of Infinity War. I saw a lot of weird questions in my timeline yesterday about why the text underneath their readouts is facing us when we, the audience, are watching this from the other side of the display. So the text should actually be backwards to us. But I think that's just a trailer thing where Marvel wants you to be able to clearly read the names easily for people that aren't really familiar with these characters. Because remember, they're marketing the movie to people like your mom, your grandma. They want everybody on the planet to see this movie. If you're a big comic book fan, they would not need to put their names under those readouts. They could just put the picture up and you would know exactly who that person is. Pretty reasonable to assume that this Thor scene of him in the hoodie, just sitting there really pensive, just really antsy about wanting to do something, is from that same part of the movie. Now that we have a little more context about what the scenes are when Captain Marvel arrives, the clothes that he's wearing before they board the Guardian ship, the scene that they showed off at Cinemacon is basically Captain Marvel arguing with them about what they're going to do next, and then Rhodey trying to explain to her how they do things as a team. You also get to hear Captain America swear, but nobody pipes up language, because obviously it's meant to be this big rally moment, but it's super early in the film, and it's before their unsuccessful first attempt at a rematch. Captain Marvel is the one who immediately wants to turn right back around and go kill Thanos. Nebula is the one that gives them the location of his special farm. Rocket gives them the idea that that's the part of the galaxy that he might be in. He said that they detected a very specific energy signature when Thanos snapped everyone, and they detected it again in a different part of the galaxy. That means that Thanos has used the gauntlet again, all 6 Infinity Stones in combination, to create this special farm-like planet. He probably just terraforms the planet using the Infinity Gauntlet, and that's why Rocket is able to detect him. Like, oh, this is where he is in this region. Nebula is the one that says very specifically, this is the exact planet that he's on. She tells a story about when she was a little girl, how Thanos would keep speaking of this special farm that they would go to, a special place when all their quote-unquote work was done. Captain Marvel is like the most gung-ho character in this conversation that they're having. She's like, I'm gonna go kill him right now. Let's go kill Thanos. Banner says, we go in short-handed. And she says, well, this time you have me. That's why things are different. Captain Marvel talks about usually working alone, like she's been working alone for mostly the last 20 years because she's so powerful. So the way they sort of balance that out with the Avengers is that Rhodey says, we usually do things as a team, which I also think is built into the core themes of the movie. Like I said in my last video, in all the different footage that we've seen so far, what is the one thing that we have not gotten yet? All 6 original Avengers standing together in frame in any of the footage. What was one of the themes of the last Avengers movie in Infinity War? Had they all worked together, they might have been able to get the gauntlet off of Thanos and prevent the snap. So you can kind of see the arc of things through the film. Captain America and Iron Man have to make nice, do you trust me? Yes, everybody has to come back together, put their differences aside, and work as a team to defeat Thanos and fix the universe. So they're sort of setting that up with this Captain Marvel scene. Captain Marvel kind of tries to do things by herself. They go in short-handed. They're unsuccessful. Later in the film, like this scene here where they're all walking towards Thanos, implies that there's more of them working together. But even then, it's hard to tell what else is going on because you don't see the rest of the frame. So it's hard to tell whether or not Hulk is behind them, but we do know that the other Avengers are in and around that base. But remember, it's a 3-hour movie, so they defeat Thanos. There's probably going to be a whole bunch of other stuff that they have to do after that in pursuit of trying to fix the universe and bring all those dusted people back in one way or another. You get that same shot of Thanos' mothership, the Sanctuary 2, with the smaller dropships orbiting around it above what looks like a devastated planet. This does not look like Titan, which had a reddish atmosphere. It doesn't look like Titan 2, which Thanos is sitting on because that had a blue-looking atmosphere like Earth's, and it also doesn't look like Morag, the purple-looking planet that the Benatar is jumping away from here. We don't know when this is happening, but for some reason it seems like they go back to Morag during the movie. The only reason to go back there would be if it has something to do with the Power Stone, because that's where Peter Quill found the Power Stone at the beginning of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. There's a brand new scene of Iron Man covering his eyes because of a bright light that seems like it's approaching. Maybe this is them being rescued or them approaching Earth. It just seems like he's surprised and he just looks absolutely terrible. Like he hasn't eaten, he hasn't slept in weeks. There's a lot of theories about he and Nebula make it back, but because of the way he's hugging Pepper here when they get off of the ship at the Avengers base, it seems like it's the first time he's seen her since he left Earth in Avengers Infinity War. My theory about Pepper and the rescue armor during the film is that she does get to do some badass stuff wearing the armor, but it's largely support work during a big battle scene, and she's only on camera for a short bit. Like when she wore the armor during Iron Man 3. She had a really cool but short armor scene at the beginning of Iron Man 3, then a badass takedown scene at the end of the movie, so I'm just expecting a similar amount of badassery from her during Avengers Endgame. But because you see Nebula in this other trailer footage seemingly cannibalizing her mechanical parts here while she and Iron Man metaphorically engineer their escape from the quote-unquote cave Iron Man 1 style, I think their rescue, so to speak, is as simple as that. Iron Man cannibalizes his suit technology and Nebula uses her own parts from her body to repair the Guardian ship well enough to limp their way back to Earth or within range for someone else to come tow them back. One of the big themes of the movie is whatever it takes, so it would be like chopping off your arm to survive if you were trapped in a life or death situation. You get the scene of Captain America, Black Widow, War Machine, and Banner outside the Avengers base at night looking up in the sky. I think we can safely assume now that this is the Benatar arriving with Iron Man and Nebula. You get the same scene of Hawkeye running through those tunnels with the explosion behind him. I think now because we've had footage that seem like the Outriders are chasing him through those tunnels, the four-armed dog-like creatures that Thanos used during Avengers Infinity War, that this chase scene is happening underneath the Avengers base, and it's when Thanos comes to destroy them after their first unsuccessful attempt to go kill him earlier in the movie. Based on all the other footage that we got of them fighting Thanos in this wreckage from the last trailer, this scene of Captain America tightening his shield around his arm, clenching his teeth, seems like it's from the same battle at the Avengers base. He's wearing the same newer scale armor from the comics, but the frame cuts off so high on his chest here that you can't see the white star. His Nomad armor with the darkened star was just his old Captain America Civil War armor that had worn down from usage and battle damage. It seems like his newer scale armor is just a redesigned, polished version of that made to look a little more aggressive and also in the vein of his comic book scale armor. Just like Iron Man's new Mark 85 is designed to look like his classic gold comic book armor. Now I know you're asking, why is this armor called the Mark 85 when the Infinity War armor was the Mark 50? What happened to those other 34 armors? The really important thing about the Cinemacon footage of Captain Marvel and them arguing with Thor about what they're gonna go do next, we should go kill Thanos, let's do it, is that Iron Man is not with them. It seems like when he and Nebula first come back and you see him hug Pepper, they go off together like he pieces out for a brief part of the movie, and during that period while he's away from them, that's when he iterates a bunch of new different armors. You get a brand new scene of Rhodey and Rocket getting caught in a giant explosion inside the Avengers base. This is probably when Thanos shows up and attacks. Notice that the floor gives way and they slide off. We've never really traveled all over the new Avengers base, but wherever they are here, there's something really big underneath this level. You get a brand new scene of them approaching Thanos with a much cleaner shot of his giant double-bladed sword in the ground with Thanos sitting there in his armor but not wearing his helmet. He's still a little blurry, so it's hard to tell if he's sitting there because he's tired and they've already traded blows, or if he's just taunting them, waiting for them to show up so that they can start the real fight. Like I said, the Avengers Endgame cast is taking over Jimmy Kimmel for most of next week, so there may be more footage, more TV spots, more scenes that they release. Of course, I'll do videos for that. The other really big thing that's happening is the Game of Thrones, as I'm posting this video, is dropping in 10 days. Of course, I'll be doing a whole bunch of videos for that, so leave all your bonus video requests for Avengers or anything else in the comments below. Congratulations to the winner from my last big Marvel video, VSam Games. Please email me on the About page of my channel so